Almost 3 years ago, I noticed my hairline was starting to recede significantly. And it was after the longest time na hindi ko siya pinapansin. Up until the point na nababother na talaga ako, so I decided to take two of the most proven anti-hair loss medications in the market, finasteride and minoxidil. But 3 years later, or fast forward to today, what if I told you na nothing dramatic happened? But also, what if I told you na actually good thing yun? Now, if you're expecting a video where my hair went from almost balding or kalbo na to sobrang dami and makapal na hair, this is not that video. Because simply, that's not what happened to me. Yung story ko or yung journey ko with hair loss, hindi siya yung parang miracle hair growth story. It's actually everything that happens when you take these medications long term. But first, I do want to acknowledge na through the years, meron din namang parang transformation na nangyari kahit papano. If you see my photos from before, like mga 2021 to 2023, medyo mataas na talaga yung hairline ko noon versus now where my hair has more texture. My hairline doesn't seem as high, and I will say this is the best that my hair has ever looked. As in, really, my hair looks its best now, quite literally, kasi actually before this shoot, hindi ko to plinano Pero bago kasi ng shoot na to was yung scheduled ko na haircut. So bagong gupit to actually nakikita ninyo. And actually, meron din talagang factor ang haircuts dito, but I will explain that later on because mas yung focus natin ngayon is yung gamot. Kasi yes, yung mga hair loss medications ko, may role talaga siya sa hair na nakikita nyo now, yung itsura niya. But I would be lying to you if sinabi ko sa inyo na yung gamot lang talaga yung only factor why my hair looks like this. Kasi guys, the truth is, actually, konti lang yung naging hair regrowth ko from taking these medications. If nakikita niyo yung parang baby hairs ko dito, siguro as an additional, medyo kumapal lang ng konti yung crown area ko dito. But again, what if I told you na yung regrowth na yun ng hair ko, actually, hindi siya yung biggest win ng journey na to. Because I realized after 3 years of taking these medications, both finasteride and minoxidil consistently every single day, successful siya not because my hair grew back na parang teenager na ulit ako. Successful siya because I didn't lose any more hair. Now, what I will say is, everyone's hair journey is different. Meron akong kakilala na halos ka-age ko. Sa may crown naman yung pagnipis ng hair niya mostly. But after him taking finasteride and minoxidil, actually kumapal ulit siya, as in bumalik talaga, nag-regrow. So again, may pagka-case-to-case basis pa rin siya depending on where your hair loss is. Pero yung hairline kasi natin or yung nagre-recede talaga sa temples, it's the one na parang pinaka-sutil or parang stubborn talaga when it comes to hair loss medications. Kasi nung journey ko, around the 2-year mark, mga parang 2 years na ako nagtitake consistently ng finasteride and minoxidil, parang medyo nagsastart na sa isip ko na yung hairline ko sa temples, pwede pa kaya siyang bumaba or pwede pa kayang significantly more hair yung mag-grow dito. And then, naalala ko what my dermatologist told me. Kasi actually, kwento siya. Sabi ng dermatologist ko, meron daw siyang pasyente dati na after taking both finasteride and minoxidil, he mentioned na parang wala namang nangyayari. So because of that, he stopped taking it, and then, doon actually tumuloy-tuloy yung hair loss niya. And that's when you start to realize, yung mga medications na to for hair loss, they're not always about regrowing your hair. Yes, magandang bonus siya, but for the most part, you take these medications para ma-save mo pa yung existing na hair mo. And in my case, actually, yun exactly ang nangyari and nangyayari pa sa akin habang tinatake ko yung medications na to. Yung hairline ko na medyo mataas dito sa temples, hindi na siya tumaas further, kasi hindi na siya tumuloy-tuloy, nag-stop na rin talaga siya. So I guess the next question is, and actually maraming nagtatanong sa akin ng question na to, kung ganun yung naging results mo from finasteride and minoxidil, are you still taking it up until today? And my answer to that is basically yes. Because if I want to keep itong hair na meron ko ngayon, then that means I will have to keep taking these medications. And yes, sa mga curious, forever medications ko na to. And I guess masasabi mo na parang maintenance ko siya. Now, another question a lot of you guys ask is, may iba ka pa bang tinitake aside from finasteride and minoxidil? Siguro mga supplements or other hair tonics or ina-apply sa hair, and kung until today, tinitake mo pa ba sila? And my answer to that is actually yes, dati. If napanood nyo yung hair routine ko from I think 2024 ata yun. Apart from yung dalawa kong hair loss medications, I would take a ketoconazole shampoo na actually pang anti-dandruff yun. Wala naman akong dandruff nun, but yung ketoconazole shampoo kasi meron siyang evidence na nakakatulong siya in terms of yung thickness or yung parang density ng hair. And ako kasi nun, parang akala ko, sige, lahat na lang gagawin ko. Kasi dati ginagawa ko pa ketoconazole tapos alternate siya with yung shampoo na may zinc, pyrithione. Basically, parang Head and Shoulders na shampoo. Again, anti-dandruff siya, pero same evidence na parang nakakatulong daw siya dun sa parang thickness ng hair. It's not groundbreaking or parang super proven na evidence, pero parang may mga studies lang na may konting support sila for hair thickness. So dati ganun yung routine ko, parang consistently ko pa silang tinatake. Tapos after that, nag-hair serum pa ako and also conditioner. But I'm going to be very, very honest with you guys. I don't really think about taking them anymore. And honestly, I don't take them as consistently anymore. Siguro yung shampoo ko, I just try my best to use something that's anti-dandruff. Kasi yun din naman yung ingredients na helpful daw sa hair thickness. And again, again, parang maganda na rin siya to actually prevent dandruff in general. Pero yung dati kong medicated shampoo, yung ketoconazole, actually hindi ko na siya binibili ulit eh. Parang ngayon hindi nga anti-dandruff shampoo yung tinatake ko eh. If I'm not mistaken, Pantene yung nasa shower ko, which is not anti-dandruff. Same with my hair serums, I don't take them anymore because sometimes parang, especially kapag mainit and malagkit yung panahon, parang nabibigatan yung hair ko. And then yung conditioner ko, siguro from time to time tinatake ko siya if I know my hair is going to be heat styled or ibo-blower siya. Kasi diba yung conditioner, parang layer of protection siya against your hair being super dry and frizzy. Actually, na-notice ko nga sa skincare, diba parang sobrang intentional ko with the products that I use. Pero with my hair, it's honestly just very passive except for yung finasteride and minoxidil ko. And I think it's very safe to say na itong dalawa lang talaga yung ginagawa ko for my hair. Now, another question a lot of you guys ask, especially through the years, is really about the side effects. How about the side effects? Meron na bang nangyari sa'yo? Especially since I haven't talked about my hair loss journey in a long time, napastop ba ako because may nangyari sa akin? And may iba kasi parang yung kwento-kwento lang nila, parang after a few years pa raw nangyayari yung side effects sa kanila. The side effects in question being yung mga common side effect daw ng hair loss medications. Particularly dito sa finasteride, nakakababa daw ng libido, or in more modern terms, nakakawala ng vogue. Wow, nakaka-go away ng is vogue. O hindi na intindihan ng iba kasi TikTok lingo yun. But after almost 3 years of using this, actually technically parang 2.5 or 2 3/4 siya. Basta parang papuntang 3 years na rin talaga, especially by the time that you're watching this video. When it comes to yung side effects and me, pareho pa rin siya as before. Guys, I haven't experienced anything in terms of my libido. And at the same time, sa totoo lang guys I really try not to think about it too much. Kasi ang fear ko is baka yung placebo effect yung mangyari. Placebo effect as in yung parang sobrang iniisip mo na siya na okay, oh my god, nakakatanggal to ng libido. Ginawa na talaga siya ng body mo, ganon. Pero kasi yun for me yung parang mas nakakatakot if nangyari siya. And sayang kasi alam ko na through the years nagwo-work yung medications na to sa akin eh. So honestly, I just keep the thought about libido at the back of my head. I don't really worry about it. Na as for other side effects, 'di ba itong finasteride is more on the libido. Ito namang minoxidil, especially yung oral. Usually kasi 'di ba pinapahid yung mga minoxidil. Kapag oral, ang takot ng iba is baka magkaroon ka ng body hair sa iba't ibang parts ng body mo na ayaw mo magkaroon. And actually, yun din talaga yung parang pinaka-fear ko when it comes to taking oral minoxidil. Pero honestly guys, when I check my body, as in, wala talaga. Or walang significant at least. Because I remember telling you guys before na medyo mas mabilis bumalik yung facial hair ko. Pero dito lang naman yun eh. I think at best, medyo mas lumabas lang yung parang fine hairs ko sa face. But then I realized, parang dati meron na rin naman yun. And ako rin kasi, ang mindset ko about it is, if something grows sa body ko na hair na ayokong naandun siya, technically pwede mo naman siyang ipa-laser eh. I think in general kasi talaga guys, when it comes to the side effects ng finasteride or ng minoxidil in general, ang kailangan mo lang talagang bantayan is yung liver mo. Every year, kailangan mo lang tutukan yung parang enzymes mo ata sa liver yun eh. Kailangan mo i-track is yung SGOT tsaka yung SGPT. But then after I get my SGOT and my SGPT, I just send it to my dermatologist. And again, for those curious, it's Doc Cheska Quinio. Siya rin yung in-interview ko before about hair loss sa channel ko na to. Now, another question you guys usually ask is, did you take other hair loss treatments? As in yung mga procedures talaga. As in mga mesotherapy, yung may mga parang gun, tapos gumaganon-ganon yung needles. And if I am taking them, how often am I taking them? Or am I still taking them? And the short and simple answer here is basically no. Because actually sa situation ko, limited lang din talaga ang pwede mong gawin. But to be clear, yung situation ko kasi, again, di ba na-mention ko, hindi yung kapal yung parang concern ko. It's really just mostly yung hairline and then yung temples, medyo tumataas yung hairline dito. So based on yung mga pagtanong ko sa mga dermatologists from before, kapag kapal yung concern mo, yun medyo marami kang magagawa na procedures. So again, meron silang tinatawag na parang PRP or yung platelet-rich plasma where kukuha sila ng blood mo and then ilalagay nila siya sa machine tapos ipapaikot nila para ma-extract yung plasma or yung parang liquid gold and then i-inject nila yon sa hair mo. Meron ding other treatments called exosomes na parang mga growth factors sila tapos i-inject din para mas mag-grow or mag-encourage na mag-grow siya or kumapal. So for hair thickness, if that's your issue, you're very lucky. Marami ka talaga magagawa. But take note, that's also on top of minoxidil and finasteride. But as for my own journey, again, hindi naman kasi thickness yung concern ko. It's really just yung hairline dito. I think nakatatlong derma na talaga ang nagsabi sa akin na ang mag-work lang sa situation ko when it comes to my hairline, if I want it to be lower, as in if ayaw ko nang isipin yung height ko dito na baka tumaas pa siya, the only solution for that is really just a hair transplant na talaga. And honestly, I really like to think na okay pa naman yung hair ko now, na parang hindi naman siya yung as bad to the point na kailangan ko na magbayad ng 6 digits para lang magpa-treatment and para bumaba siya. Parang in all fairness, I'm very satisfied with where it's at now. So sa isip-isip ko, sige, when the time comes siguro in my 40s, pag tumaas na ulit yung hairline ko. Kasi sa lalaki daw guys, sabi ng dermatologist ko, meron daw 2 major phases na nagkaka-hair loss na significant ang isang lalaki. Yung una is in your late 20s and then yung next one mo parang sa 40s na daw. So I guess in my case, kung nangyari siya at that time kapag 40s na ako, edi doon na lang ako magpapa-hair transplant, 'di ba? And also, after talking about it with multiple dermatologists, na-realize ko rin na kapag masyadong maaga magpa-hair transplant, it's also not a good thing. Pero pag masyado mo yung maagang ginawa, as in kumuha ka na, tapos nilagay mo na siya dito, nag-recede pa more yung hair mo, so kuha ka na naman, tapos ilalagay mo na naman. Tapos paulit-ulit mo na siyang ginagawa until wala ka na makukuha dito. So, 'di ba, parang kailangan strategic ka rin in terms of when you're going to get your hair transplant. So, sabi ko, sige, happy naman ako sa hair ko generally, so hindi ko muna siya gagawin. Okay na muna to. Now, I did mention to you guys earlier na yung hair ko ngayon, yes, medications did play a big role, as in finasteride and minoxidil really helped me na hindi pa tumaas further yung hairline ko. Pero again, meron pang iba na nag-play ng role or naging malaking factor din sa journey ko na to. And that's actually what I wanted to expound more on sa video na to, because for me, aside from my hair loss medications, ang isa din talagang nakatulong is finding the right hairstyle and haircut. Now, if you guys noticed yung hair ko through 2024 and 2025 up until now, manonotice nyo, paiba-iba siya. From my shaved sides era na parang may pagka, ewan ko, mohawk ba yun? Nagkaroon din ako ng front bangs era, nagkaroon din ako ng side bangs era, and then nagkaroon din ako ng kachupoy era na parang curtain na yung bangs ko dito. So, ang dami ko talagang pinagdaanan from that era, tapos nag-experiment pa ako with different types of haircuts. And hinanap ko talaga yung haircut that not only flatters yung face shape ko, but also the fact na mataas yung temples ko dito. It really took me a long time to realize na, ay, shucks, pwede pala yun. Kasi pag nagpapagupit tayo, we're just very set on like, okay, anong hairstyle ba yung gagawin ko? Or even, ano ba yung hairstyle na nakasanayan ko na nung bata pa ako? And basically, we don't realize na, ay, meron palang way sa paggupit ng hair na parang custom or almost bespoke. Meaning parang sobrang customized or binabagay talaga sa features ng head mo. Kaya actually, when people ask kung ano ba yung gupit ko or ano ba yung hairstyle ko, even if you ask my barber, mostly, hindi namin kayo masasagot directly. Siguro parang sasabihin namin, yes, meron siyang inspiration from yung Korean na Ivy League na haircut, na may pagka-warrior cut kasi magulo siya. But at the same time, meron din siyang mga parang specific na ginagawa. Like yung taper dito, it's called a taper, yung parang sinashave mo siya. So yung sa sides and yung sa back ko, it's what they call, I think, a mid to a low taper. Kasi nga, yun yung na-realize namin na mas bagay sa akin kasi kapag sinashave ko siya ng super taas, as in yung ganun, mas na-accentuate yung taas ng temples ko dito. And also because, since medyo round yung face ko, kapag flinat ko yung ganun, magmumukha siyang, alam mo yun, parang avocado ka na. Char. And that's why you guys will notice, as in tingin kayo sa videos ko from maybe 2023 or 2022, medyo mataas talaga yung pag-shave dito. And manonotice mo, mas emphasized yung hairline ko. And in 2023, that was still happening even when I was taking finasteride and minoxidil. So sometimes, it's also not about your hair loss, but it's also about the hairstyle that you have that will complement your face. Siguro one specific thing na sasabihin ko sa inyo how my haircut is customized to me is yung barber ko kasi, he knows na yung sa bangs ko or yung sa hairline na part, yung gupit niya dito sa hairline ko sa gitna is iba from yung hairline ko dito sa temples. Actually, yung hair ko dito sa may temples, mas mahaba siya compared to dito sa gitna. Although mukha siyang even lang, 'di ba? Pero para pumantay sila with each other, kailangan medyo mas mahaba to. At the same time, kapag ganito yung hair ko, medyo nako-cover niya yung head ko in a way na nagsha-shadow pa siya dito. I don't know if you guys see it. So it kind of gives off an illusion or parang a shadow, so hindi masyadong na-accentuate yung taas ng hairline ko. So gets niyo ba? Parang meron talagang mga hairstyles or ways of cutting your hair that actually flatter your face or head shape better. And well, ako, it took me 1 to 2 years to kind of find out kung ano yung best for me. But basically, eto na yun. Siguro ang main reco ko talaga or my final recommendation when it comes to getting haircuts, go for barbers that actually offer yung mga haircut consultation. Kasi yung kakausapin mo sila kung ano ba yung bagay sa'yo based on yung sa hair mo. And actually guys, so many barbers offer it nowadays. As in, search nyo lang sa TikTok, Barber Hair Consultation Philippines. Ang daming lalabas. As in, hindi lang sa Metro Manila, even outside Metro Manila, meron na rin mga barbers that actually offer that. Kung taga Metro Manila ka do and you're looking for recommendations, salons like, let's say, yung Juno Hair in BGC, Korean salon siya, ayun makakausap mo talaga yung barber or yung stylist nun. As in, i-analyze pa nila yung head shape mo. Alam niyo naman yung parang Korean way, di ba? Parang very intentional, pinag-isipan talaga. If curious kayo who my current barber is, it's actually Sir Gum Cruz. I-share ko na lang sa inyo yung IG niya sa description box if you want to get to know him more. Meron din siyang content where people consult him, ano ba yung best hairstyle. And sa IG din usually yung magme-message ka to book an appointment. But to take note guys dahil medyo trabaho ko na rin talaga ang social media, nag-i-invest talaga ako ng pera to be able to put into my haircuts kahit medyo mahal siya. So baka kasi magulat lang kayo sa presyo ng mga haircuts ng Juno Hair or yung barber ko. But of course, meron din namang iba na parang iba talaga talaga yung budget level na gusto nila or iba rin yung location nila. And meron din namang other barbers for that na medyo mas mababa yung charge nila or siguro mas malapit sila sa location ninyo. Kasi nga sinasabi ko sa inyo guys, dumadami na talaga yung barbers that offer yung hair consultations ngayon. Hindi ko nga alam, baka meron na kayong nakita sa TikTok eh. As in, sinasabi ko talaga sa inyo guys, TikTok is the key talaga. Malay nyo, meron pala malapit sa area ninyo na okay, medyo fair yung price, and makakausap nyo pa kung ano yung pinakabagay na hairstyle para sa inyo. May mga iba nga parang very up-to-date sila sa mga trending na hairstyles. So, ang pwede nilang gawin, they can actually customize that haircut for you based on yung hairline mo or yung head shape mo to actually give you a hairstyle that flatters your face. And actually, speaking of hairstyle, kasi medyo iba pa yun from haircut, let me know sa comments, di ko alam kung gusto niyo ng ganung content from me, like how I style my hair as someone who experienced hair loss, parang ganon. Actually, parang fun yun because ako personally, I like to use a lot of hairstyling products, but also, meron din ako mga products na ginagamit to prevent damage kasi syempre, yun yung pwede ring mag-cause ng hair fall, di ba? But all in all guys, if you ask me about what I do for my hair or yung maintenance ko for my hair loss, tatlo lang talaga siya. Number 1, finasteride 1 mg. Ito yung pinaka-importante. Next is minoxidil. I take 2.5 mg of this. Ito parang sa Thailand kasi siya. And then hinahati ko into 4 kasi 10 mg siya. I think nakita niyo naman na to before. Gumagamit lang ako ng pill cutter. So every day, itong dalawa tinatake ko sila orally. And then factor number 3, basically getting a haircut that will suit me. So yun lang siya. 2 gamot and isang haircut. Very, I would say minimalist, straight to the point. And honestly budgetarian pa nga. And yes, I will say budgetarian kasi sa totoo lang, yes, minoxidil and finasteride, hindi sila mura talaga. But also, sila lang din yung mabibili mo sa market na evidence-based. Yung mga makikita mo sa market ngayon na parang hair tonic, yung mga herbal tonic, herbal capsules na itatake mo, so on and so forth, may makikita ka usually sa label nila saying no therapeutic claims. And yung label na yon, that actually means na hindi pa siya proven clinically na effective talaga siya. More of kwento-kwento lang talaga yung maririnig mo. Pag nakakita kayo ng parang evidence na, ay, gumagana ba talaga to? Tinest na ba siya? Usually may kita mo parang kwento lang ng mga taong ginamit daw yung product. And yung mga tao na yon, hindi mo naman kilala kung sino sila, kung ano yung hair nila, kung pareho ba kayo ng hair situation kasi maraming iba't ibang causes ang hair loss. And hindi mo rin naman alam kung yung mga results na yon is tinest sa clinic. But I mean, if you believe it, it's up to you, diba? You can buy it if you want. Kaya nga lang, you would need extra money to spend on it. And guys, yung mga hair tonic or mga capsules na to, hindi siya mura. Minsan nga, mas mahal pa siya dito sa mga medications na to. And remember, even if a dermatologist will allow you to use those herbal supplements, always siya as an add-on lang. And in the parang hierarchy of things, syempre uunahin mo yung evidence-based, yung nire-recommend talaga ng derma na ito yung kailangan, which are the medications. So diba, I would say yung gamot is budgetarian kasi tinatake mo lang kung ano yung dapat. And yung mga herbal, actually, medyo dagdag gastos pa sila because sila yung add-on sila yung optional na idadagdag mo. Pero idadagdag mo siya kasi meron kang budget. Pero kung bare essentials lang talaga, it's really finasteride and minoxidil. And honestly guys, we really need to normalize yung discussion na ganito sa Pilipinas. Kasi sa ibang bansa, for example, Thailand, sobrang normal na sa kanila eh. For example, if someone is experiencing hair loss, parang medyo wala nang shame in talking about it and widely known na parang, okay, may gamot na for that, yung finasteride, take ka lang everyday. Even to the point na yung iba nga parang, okay, if magpa-family planning ka, okay, consult ka muna ng derma and then they will guide you through a phase na, okay, pag maggagawa na kayo, gusto niyo magkaroon ng bata, magsa-stop muna kayo for a while and then after nun, pwede ka nang bumalik. And that's also the reason kung bakit sobrang available na ng ganitong mga hair loss medications sa Thailand. I mean, apart from the fact na medical tourism hotspot din talaga sila, diba? As in, marami talagang nagpapagawa doon ng hindi lang hair. Basically, parang normalized na doon yung hair loss. And yung hair loss medications, normalized na rin siya and hindi na rin takot yung mga tao because alam nilang merong evidence na effective siya. Sa Pilipinas kasi guys, parang medyo may mga takot pa when it comes to medical intervention. So what they do is they go for the natural pero either wala masyadong maraming evidence or kung gumagana naman siya, same effect lang naman dun sa medication na masastop lang din niya yung hormones. So, alam mo yun, parang in general, parang may hesitation pa from Filipinos to actually not just talk about these products but also use them. Even for people na meron ng access to dermatologists. Kasi talaga guys, kung manonormalize din natin yung mga hair loss solutions na ganito dito, na gamot talaga, hindi puro dinadaan sa mga herbal, hindi laging procedures muna na mamahalin, I think it will really help a lot of people, including men who are afraid or even ashamed of talking about it. Kasi honestly guys when it comes to hair loss, when it comes to females talking about hair loss, very open sila eh. I mean, compared to men of course, medyo may konting hiya pa rin, but a female can talk about her hair loss problems or hair fall problems with another woman and they will easily relate to each other. Pero parang kapag yung mga lalaki, medyo may konting hiya pa to talk about it even with another man. And bakit kaya ganun, di ba? Kaya ako rin talaga ginagawa yung mga videos na to because I know there's a lot of people experiencing these types of things. Meron ako mga friends or classmates ko from before na lumapit na sa akin, ka-age ko lang sila. And basically, they're asking me what my experience was because wala silang masyado nakikitang conversations that, talk about this. And sa totoo lang guys, I really think it's about time that we talk about it. Kasi kapag sa hair, time is ticking talaga. As in, time ang kalaban mo. So, the sooner you normalize it, the sooner we can act on it, and the sooner na alam natin na, hey, may solution pala. Like, hindi lang acceptance. It makes your quality of life so much better. Kasi minsan meron din parang mindset ang ibang mga lalaki. I don't know if it comes from parang machismo na parang, okay, tatanggapin ko na lang, makakalbo na lang ako, wala lang akong pake, kasi gano'n naman talaga lalaki, di ba? Really? Di ba? Hindi nakakales ng pagkalalaki mo if you want to keep the hair that you have, di ba? It's very easily said, but some people, they don't really understand that. Pero yun lang talaga yung point ko, guys. The sooner you act on it, the sooner you will be able to save your hair. And speaking of acting on it, I will share with you guys one of my Thailand vlogs to show you guys where I buy my hair loss medication sa Bangkok. Parang nagiging every year na siyang trip sa akin para makapag-refill lang. Especially since mas mura din talaga yung mga hair loss medications doon. So, diba, mura na, may kasama pang bakasyon. And also, if hindi nyo pa napapanood, my update on my hair loss meds nung early stage pa lang siya, parang mga 1.5 year. Or parang 2 years na ata yun eh. But I'll put that here para alam nyo kung paano nag-progress yung mga expectations or yung mga nangyari sa hair loss journey ko. But as usual guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you enjoyed this podcast format in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!